Well, hello, people of YouTubes. I just had a major crash, so that's why I'm a bit late. I had to make some graphics. Maya's not open at the moment. I very foolishly tried to open Photoshop at the same time. So, bear with me. I don't have a drink yet. I need to grab a drink. So maybe we can just run the pitch video in the background. Let's see. This is an ye oldie one. This one was a work in progress last time around, so what if I swap that out? Change that to video, and then bear with me, sorry. This should be the one. All right, enjoy.
Aside from color print friendliness, our Exoplanet colony uses
Oh,
our
there was no
GridForge
audio
tile
from the
and
video.
frame
Sorry,
system.
guys.
It allows you to slot in tiles and hot swap them. Use an empty grid for fog of war, or swap out tiles on the fly to change the scenario conditions. The frames and walls connect with our tiny support clip, which is...
Should we rerun it while my loads up? Maybe. It's going to take a little bit of time. Let's try it again.
Hi, I'm Ben from Second Dynasty. For 8 years, we've been designing 3D printable science fiction scenery for your tabletop, from nostalgic interiors to complete starships. If you're like me, you might have backed a lot of STL campaigns. And maybe it's getting hard to justify backing more. Either you already own a mountain of unpainted terrain, or have a horde of STL files choking up your hard drive. I get overwhelmed by the sheer volume, and there's a big reason why. I don't have time to paint it all. Miniatures and even vehicles can be fun to paint up and detail, but terrain and massive starships, they get tedious, taking weeks or even months to complete. But with the rise of affordable multicolor FDM solutions, you can bring your tabletop to life. Color FDM printing changes everything. By using just a few different color filaments and types, you can achieve amazing results, metallic finishes, and amazing detail without pulling out a single paintbrush. We are now including the files for you to print easily and color yourself. Aside from color print friendliness, our Exoplanet colony uses our GridForge tile and frame system. It allows you to slot in tiles and hot swap them. Use an empty grid for fog of war, or swap out tiles on the fly to change the scenario conditions. The frames and walls connect with our tiny support clip, which is a fraction of the size of other clips and prints very fast. Wow your players with our prefab colony corridors, our research lab, power plant, executive suite, hangar, vehicle bay, and of course the exterior terrain. and populate it all with our awesome vehicles and miniatures. We need your help to expand the Exoplanet colony range and grow GridForge to a wider audience. So, what are you waiting for? Stop painting and start printing today.
Alright, let's try this again. Hi guys, it's Ben from Second Dynasty. Whoa, what a week. How's the government shutdown treating you guys? Let's see, sorry about that. Yeah, I had the nerve to open Photoshop at the same time as Maya, and it did not pay. How's everyone doing today? Let's see, it looks like we've got Solo Spirit, Doug, Shergle, Shadow Liger, Sam is here, Clive, Trevor, Brendan, Overboard, Gran Priegio, or Prego, I'm not sure. But in any case, sorry about the flustering. I'm actually in a bit of a funny spot anyway. Yeah, we're soldiering on. So yeah, we have a Kickstarter running at the moment, and we are almost funded thanks to you guys. We're about 700 euros off, or 650 euros off, and then we can start unlocking stretch goals, which is a little of what I've been working on lately. So there is a link down below. I've started changing the page up. Also, there's like now fancier graphics. I was woefully unprepared for launch last week. What am I talking about? It's only Monday. Yeah, I'm not in a good way this week, guys. Just had a 2-day training course and a 25-question multi-guess exam. Oh, that sounds like fun. Funny spot, Exo Club is getting a comedy club. Trust Shergle to bring the jokes. Sam is here. Sam is all around you. Sam is the man beside you. Sam will gnaw on your bones. Look out, Sam is here. But can he face off with Benjamin? And that's the question. Maybe if I spent more than 8 minutes on the test, I'd have got more than 23 out of 25. That's not that bad. So yeah, this is not a stretch goal. Sorry, this is just the free files. In case that's something to mistake. But one of the stretch goals that is coming up fairly soon is this lower level. So I'm just working on the iteration. My goal this time around is to have stuff printable as I'm releasing them. And this I'm going to show off. Hey, John. Never met you before. Hey, Blasted. John Games is a bot. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time he was mistaken for an AI. I won't face off with Benjamin. I'm not insane. Yeah. So I started cleaning up the scene a little bit. There is a bit of nastiness in here, and I have this morning's project was experimenting with sort of this snap in place tile that John had done that Shergle had iterated on, and I wanted to do a version that was sort of like this kind of floor. So I did do it, and it came out okay. I am not really prepared for sharing videos at the moment. Let's see if this is... Alright, at least it doesn't show the food on the floor. But here we went with the tile. So that was... sorry, it's out of focus. All you can see is the snacks mix that's been there for like weeks. Let's see if we can get this to focus. Is the setting not keeping again? Let's see. Configure video. Camera control focus is on auto. Okay, it's on auto. It's just probably a little bit more enticed by some of these other things. That snacks thing I've been using actually to hoist the camera up a little higher. So we're going to be talking about this baby today because I thought the work that we'd actually do could be based on what we do for the higher tribes tier this month. I have some ideas. I think they can be implemented in principle, and I can at least show you guys my concept today. Obviously, the most important thing still is the Kickstarter that's ongoing. Sorry, there's that tile again. Yeah, it just doesn't want to focus, does it? Come on. Look at me. Look at me. I mean, it reflects nicely. You just have to trust me that it looks okay. It's not as charming as the other ones, but the other thing I've test printed, and there are a few parts I need to redo, particularly the corner pieces. But here we have the lower corridors section. And you'll be happy to know that these panels, including on the corners, these panels, and these panels on the inside are all separate objects that can snap in and print separately. Right now I'm reprinting this corner, and once that's done I'm going to be reprinting the inserts for them. What I realized is, actually I can probably show you guys, the flaw I'm fixing is this is a single wall piece, and I'm going to do versions of this panel, back panel, that doesn't have the pegs on them. But as you can see, these have clip holes on the sides, and I did change the orientation. Man, that focus is driving me nuts. I did change the orientation so that it would help when it prints flat, like so. Hey, we've got focus. Shit, dropped the other part. So you can kind of see there the gap in the frame. So rather than clipping in, I mean, these can fit loosely and they're fairly snug. Like, you can shake them around and they're not going to come out. They're not clipping in. And in fact, I didn't clip in most of my ones for the upper gallery, I guess, for the corridors. What else have I been doing? But yeah, the corners, these ones with this corner here are considerably looser. So they're very reliant on the clip hole to hold it into place. Problem is, I forgot to change the orientation on these. So these ones angled, this one not angled. So that's why I'm reprinting right now. And I just had a Maya crash, so I'm not entirely sure which version I've got here. Hopefully, because I was doing a lot of other stuff, it looks like I've got the correct version here. And of course, we can take a look at the, I think it just put it in the Comanche scene. No, not that one. I'm really disorganized here and flustered, and I'm not feeling great this week, to be honest. But here are the new plates, and you can see each is actually made up of, oh, sorry, I just realized I did not switch back to my screen. I'm sorry about that, guys. And that includes the chat, where you no doubt have been warning me. So yeah, sorry. I only just recently did it anyway. But yeah, you can see there's quite a few different components. There's like this little lip here that I was quite surprised that it worked first go. And I've also implemented something, an improvement. You can kind of see this little groove at the back that helps the plates clip in. And then I did increase, or rather decrease, the tolerance a little of these parts on the side. So they fit in quite nicely. The corner pieces are even quite tight. And then the very inside pieces here, I think I'm just going to leave them blank because they're such a tiny detail. And I haven't tested getting in this corner sort of corrugated base at the moment. Obviously, it's not on this model. You'll be able to see it here in Maya, this thing, or in particular, that thing. So I'm preparing for a number of different stretch goals. If we go back to the, I think this is the campaign here, and we go down to stretch goals, I'm slowly changing the titles to sprucing up the page. It's nowhere near where I wanted it to be, but as is the case, like, I worked 40 hours over the weekend, maybe, like, including the Friday, I should be honest. But it was very intense. So and then the full day on Monday, and I just couldn't couldn't quite get it there on time. We launched half an hour later than planned, and there's no doubt things missing. When we do fund, I'm planning on adding a few things, like there have been requests for merchant tiers. I've given it some consideration, and we're going to offer a version for, like, normally we do this with tribes, but for this particular content, we'll do a version that's like a yearly license and a version that's like a lifetime license, so pay and be done with this in particular. So yeah, let's check out what I've sort of put up. Oh, and just because there is always these questions, even though I think we've been much better at labeling things. If you backed Expendable, we have the Expendable Survivor Pledge. I know, crazy name. It doesn't say at all what it is. And again, for Expendable Frontier backers right there. So that only includes the new sections, but any stretch goals we have whatsoever, including ones for old parts that you used to have, as well as any updates we'll be doing to the files, you'll get those as well. So don't fear about that. We didn't want to punish the people that have already supported us. And hopefully we'll be able to unlock a new Section 2 operations, but I don't know. We'll see how things go. It is not our fastest Kickstarter, but, you know, it looks like we're going to fund. That's not going to be an issue. It's more a case of, like, how many stretch goals can we reasonably get out by the end of campaign. And I am working on some more pushes and advertising and that sort of thing. So hopefully, you know, check out the link in the description below. While you're looking for the link, there's a little like button that you could click, or a subscribe button if you want to be reminded when we do go live. Because God knows I forget all the time to put it up in a reasonable amount of time. So, hey Brian. So yeah, the Exoplanet colonist thing, I really hate how Pinterest comes up the whole time, but maybe I could turn that off somehow. Exoplanet colonist is all of the terrain but no vehicles, and then you've got the Exoplanet terraformer, which has 20 vehicles. Now there was some questions in the chat. Are they color or, you know, monofilament? With the exception of the APC, which has been done in color from the start. That was the release 2 months ago. A lot of these are tribes releases from past years. There's also the Erebus is in there. We don't have the Typhon anymore. But yeah, these are not specifically made for color printing. Now, I've made bits and bobs in color. So provided they're still around, I might convert them at some point. But I kind of get the feeling that once you guys start working with multicolor filaments anyway, you want to add your own customizations. But the Electo, I did do a color version at least of the hull and the main controls. I think the only thing I didn't do color is like the back interior to some degree, and I didn't paint the floor in the front of the ship because I only can use 4 filaments at once, and I was using my brown color already. So in any case, I hope that clears that up. If we do change things with that, we'll add them to the files. Moving forward, I'm going to do vehicles in color because it makes no sense not to do it anymore. So let's see if there's any more AMS in the Black Friday sale from Bamboo Labs. Erebus is the goat, says Sam. You know, I'd have to agree. It's my favorite ship at the moment that I've made, aesthetically. And then, of course, we have the Insane Collector, which has... It says 800 products, but it's actually probably closer to 900. There's basically every STL we will have made to date. And since it's releasing, you know, right before Christmas, it will be everything to date in 2025. Of course, that comes with an equivalent price tag, which is quite unaffordable, but, you know, I can't make it that cheap. So yeah, and again, some of the add-ons is like past tribes releases, it's additional GridForge stuff, and there's also an area to support 3DO. So John and I would like to revisit 3DO, which is our proprietary software for visualizing your print builds. He would love to do things from the ground up to integrate GridForge properly. If not, some really basic support based on the amount of support we get from those add-ons, that'll all go into the GridForge, 3DO GridForge modifications. And of course, when you support it, you'll get a lifetime version of 3DO as well on itch.io, in whichever form that ends up taking. So it's more a long-term thing and a way to fund something on the side, which we'd like to do, but it's one of those things where we can't funnel that many resources. Especially this year's been tough, to be perfectly honest, between my health and also the orange man over there ruining things a little bit. I assume that's something. But yeah, I wanted to look at the stretch goals a little bit. I've set them very low compared to what we usually do. So we're starting at 500 extra euros. This will release some of the stretch goals we never got to release on the whatchamacallit, on Expendable. So these first three are sort of older things that have been ready for a while. And then we have the lower corridors at 13k. So it's not that far off. It's entirely achievable. And, I came in I was going to take the day off on Tuesday, and I ended up instinctively loading up Maya anyway and starting to work on these lower corridors because I was just excited to do them. I haven't felt that way in a long time, so that's very positive, I feel. But yeah, I'm going to start actually looking to see what people are writing in the chat now. So, let's see. Good morning all, says Dalton. Hey Dalton, looking forward to this. Thankfully I was able to pledge on the first day. That's awesome. Although, to be fair, you haven't missed anything if you're pledging later. The main thing is you helped us build some momentum. But I forgot all about that, early bird offers and that exist. So I'm sorry there were no day one discounts this time around. I barely released on time as it was. How did you print the canopy for the dropship? Is the glass just transparent PLA with 2 to 3 layers and 0% infill? I will show you, Trevor, because I have it open. So this is actually how I printed it, funnily enough. So I printed it in 2 filaments. I'm not happy with the results. I'll tell you that. And I think it would need a bit of adjustment. I am considering just making the plates panels, but I don't think it really solves my issue for how the canopy will look. Also, it feels a little bit loose at the moment. I kind of feel like, especially on this ship where it's not really designed for the canopy to open, it's more about accessing your miniatures. Let's just run a slice here. So this is the way I did it. I'm sure John's going to cry when he sees it. Not tears of joy. But this was the dirty way I solved it. Trying to make these layers as thin as possible. I still had issues with the overhangs. But, it's glowy. It looked kind of cool, especially from a distance, but I'm not happy with the results. Question is, do I have it in me to go back and fix it? Well, I don't know about that. Let's see. Overboard said, I recently found another starter of Sci-Fi terrain, not a GridForge, but I'm hoping to try to make them play nice together. It's called Core. I think I backed Core. Isn't it a GridForge? Sorry, not GridForge. A OpenLock, in which case OpenLock is completely compatible with our stuff. Shadow Liger says, there was a positive response to sharing the campaign on the Prusa Discord. Oh, nice. Doug Jeffrey says, I looked at Core, but I decided not to back because I couldn't see any way to make it GridForge compatible. Okay, so maybe it wasn't OpenLock. Shergall says, well, you've made it to 94% of target and there's still 2.5 weeks left to go. Yeah, the funding is not the issue, but as a behind-the-scenes thing, usually the technique to use for, like, my costs to be met, I don't set the goal at what it's actually cost me. Although this time, we did have Expendable partially funding this. So if you look at them bunched together, it's a decent campaign. And it's mostly, the presentation, that's the issue. I'm hoping to be far more focused and take my time next year compared to this. John backed call, but at a lower level just to show support. Oh, that's good. Brian said good morning from Ottawa. Shadow Lega says printables, just double posting there could work well. Guys, one of the best things you can do for the campaign is if you post about it. I'm running some Reddit ads. I don't know if they're going to do any good right now, and sadly I can't advertise in the threads that I really want to advertise in because they don't allow them. And that would be Alien RPG in particular. That's what I had in mind when I was designing this stuff. And in fact, you would notice that this episode's picture actually shows that. So if I can probably pull up some photos I just took. Oh, I always forget which way my folder sorts things. So let's see. So yeah, I took a few pictures. I'm just worried that my computer's going to crash again. Let's see. That is really blurry. I suspect because... Oh, it is synced. So yeah, I took a few pictures. This is a Papsicles miniature here on the right. The rest are miniatures from Another Day in the Core, which is an Aliens tabletop game. I guess some of these take a little while to load. And be warned, some of these pictures I was having trouble focusing, so I took some in rapid succession. But you should be able to see the interior here with the folding seats. I didn't put the bars in. It's a choice. They're a bit fiddly and it can get a bit frustrating. Let's see, I think I've got some glamour shots here with the focus changing. There we go. That's what I was aiming for before. So yeah, I think that is about the end of it if we're switching to terrain. I did take a video at some point. Little top down. And then the rest of pictures I was intending to take of the terrain. You'll notice something else here though. John sent me very, very late last night or early this morning my time the prototype of the ramp. So it does need a few additional features and considerations, but it is printed and in place on the edge of the map. Maybe I have another picture of it here somewhere. No? Just a video. Alright, I'm not going to open a video here because images is wrong, but maybe I can open this one. An unexpected error is keeping me from copying the file. I'm not copying the file. I'm wondering if maybe my hard drive's running out of memory. That could explain some of the crashes. No, 40 gig free. Not great, but not the worst. Let's try this again. There we go. Okay, streamers. Set up this scene here with a nice disembarkment. Let's get a little bit of mood lighting on here. There we go. Oh, took out a Xeno. Well prepared. Right, let's move him back. There we go. And nudge this one too. I'll make sure the gun's pointing at the big guy. This miniature's from Papsicles. The other ones are from Another Day in the Core. Yeah, I think we can do even better with the lighting. Let's see, how does this look? You can now see the interior. All finished and set up. Looking pretty good. So we're going to work on that today, I think. And then I wanted to show off a few improvements. Namely, John made a ramp. So there'll be more to come. This is only like version 1. but we're starting to play around with the terrain a bit. I'm thinking of pulling out these rock walls and using something I'm about to show you instead. And that's something I was about to show you, of course, was this stuff. So I've already shown it off. But, you know, that video was filmed a bit earlier when I thought I had more time. And I hadn't opened Adobe, only to crash the desktop once again. So, yeah. Dalton said, too bad resin does not work with color change-ups. Not really possible except for 50+K. Resin build-up printers. Yep. Not really accessible at the moment. So, sliding in late. Hello, people. Hello, derivative content. Let's see. Core is OpenLock, but the tile slicing is not OpenLock. Oh, right. Yeah, it connects with OpenLock, but they changed it. That I don't like. It's like, if you're going to fit a standard, fit the standard. Says I, who makes the ships with OpenLock connectors. But I mean, the point is the flaws and standardized stuff for the map. That was all according to the templates. Cannot wait to add the ramp. We need to add a few clip holes in it and maybe a few alternate versions for different case studies. So yeah. You missed the start. Yeah, you did, but you didn't miss much. So we'll see. I got a late start today as well. So yeah, I just wanted to show that off. I'm looking forward to doing more stuff. I have ideas for every single set. Like, for example, maybe I should turn on some stuff so you guys, we can talk about it. Research lab, exterior. I guess there's a little bit of overlap here in places. It is not perfect. Garage executive suite. There we go. That should be the main bulk of it. As you can see, the curse has struck. I suspect what I need to actually do is actually restart the computer for to have a proper go of things. But I'm hoping, since what I was planning to work on is lower memory, that maybe we can open up. Maya again once it's finished crashing, which it has not done just yet. Alright, yeah, that's right. It kind of like was set up, that core thing, so that you can have side-on areas. I kind of like that for dioramas. And I am like adding additional details. It is a shame. I really did want to kind of... Man, this is... I might have to just do the old Control-Alt-Delete, because the autosave is taking forever as well. Hopefully not too much of an issue. Put that over there, and we'll kill Maya. See, the weird thing is, like, I've got plenty of memory free. This computer is a fairly beastly computer. It's got like 64 gig, but somehow Adobe manages to crash things every single time it's opened alongside Maya, and then it ruins it for everyone else, namely the other programs. In this case, I think it's less Autodesk and more Adobe. Yeah, we'll see. In any case, I'm going to load up the dropship this time. It is a significantly smaller file size. It's only 800 meg compared to the 5 gig that Expendable is. Why did they change it? Because they are the worst. What? They changed Control-Alt-Delete to Control-Shift-Escape? Who did that? Anyway, you ended up with 128 gig of RAM, and it is so much better. ended up with. That's an interesting way of putting it. So hopefully now you guys can see something pretty on the screen. You can kind of see here I started experimenting with a more printable version of this thing. I made the holes a bit smaller. I do have that test printed and printed out. I'm not sure why, but it feels like the connectors are very loose now, so I might have to scale up. I think scaling up the holders is probably the best, like the weapons racks or whatever we ended up calling them. Missile holders in this case. So let me kill the lighting so it's not in the way, and we'll get rid of this. I really love how this ship came out and looks, but now we need to do something that is, you know, a great variant for our tribers that are up a little higher. Windows 11 is Control Shift Escape. Oh, that's right, I'm on Windows 10. Still. I used changes to make it launch Task Manager for a while, but that finally stopped working. I hate the menu. I hate Windows 11 too. The first thing I did was install something to make it look like a different version of Windows. Yeah, I don't appreciate it. So aesthetically, this thing looks best as it is, I think. But I have designed this so that there's a split here. And I don't think it wants anything more than a single inch of lengthening. Cue the smirking and giggles. So like it would extend to here instead. And obviously you're going to have a disruption in the flow of the ship. That's going to be a natural thing. But we can all push it back a little bit. The other modification I was looking to make, I think it should... One of the things popped up, but not the other. Maybe I need the Scorpion on. Yeah, there we go. So, at the moment, these clip in with open lock half clips. But what I'm thinking of designing is like an arm that can clip up here, so we can have some missile launchers as an option. Really sort of like push back into the Cheyenne sort of influence. Also working on a different nose type, which is more rounded. I don't know if I will put in the weapon. I did put my brrr a little bit offset because I think that makes a difference. I was also considering making like an antenna or something sticking out. So that might be an option as well. It is a shadow like a stretch. Oh, did you already do one? Like, there you go. I can just steal that one. Legal will be talking to you about the ownership of the shadow like a stretch. In any case, that's what I think we'll work on today. So, also, this base version, which I pulled off the Scorpion, apparently there's another side here that is more detailed, I've just realized. So I don't know why I took the shitty side. But yeah, the reason for mounting it like that, you don't want it to interfere with your engines. Or, actually, I think these are more like radiators, to be honest. But, I don't know, there's not as much logic in this design. It's more a case of like capturing the spirit of the Cheyenne dropship while making it a smaller craft that is itself like the vehicle for landing troops. You haven't stretched it yet, you're just talking about it. Okay. Let's see if this is all grouped. No, it's not. So I do realize there's some STL files missing and whatnot. My plan was to come in when we've got the variant and do some instructions. Was planning to get it done by today, but to be perfectly honest, I haven't been feeling very well. Again. So, yeah, I think we'll just do a form factor and then quite possibly make it so that I know this is a tight fit, and that this prints normally on its back. It could possibly print on a different angle. I know it's been done this way in the past because we have this awkward sort of like clip connection, but that was before we had supported clips. And there might be even more options for smaller things. Let's see, I hadn't stretched it yet. I've been in training with ASTM to audit the domestic additive manufacturing supply base. You mean the sort of thing that probably should have been done before tariffs, or? I truly hope that the problem with the slowness on the Kickstarter, I hate that this is the case, but a lot of our past backers have either worked somewhere in the US government, be it the military or not administration, but like bureaucracy in some way. We have an overrepresentation of that sort of people in our customer base. And it's kind of hard to back campaigns when you're not getting paid. So I'm sorry you guys have to deal with that. And like 68% of our customers come from the United States at the moment, so fun. Secrets, Ben, secrets. All right, I'll stop talking about it. In any case, I need to start considering how to fix this. So I think the first thing I do with this is we delete that version, and I'm just going to rip the nicer version. Oh, it's fully integrated. How thoughtful of me. Okay, well, this should be a case of just... Let's see, did I duplicate that? No, I did not. I won't worry about the missiles for now, but we should just be able to select that and delete it. So, well, that did look nicer when it was integrated, I suppose, compared to the other version I had. And we probably have more room for a supported clip. Although now, because I'm changing the orientation, it might not be an issue. The main issue is how these are going to print out, because I'm realizing now that this prints on the front, I'm assuming. What? How does that part print? Okay. Oh, all right. So this part actually prints on that edge. So that's going to have to change at this point. Because I don't think that's going to work for us. Although, we're keeping it at an angle, so maybe... Nah. No, I think we're going to have to do a custom job, so... Alright, so we want to move it fairly close to the hull. This way, too, it should work with both versions. So I probably want to... See, now... If I did make all of this flat... Actually, why don't we move this thing away for now, so we can see where our actual connection is at. Because if we make it the right way, this is a bit further back, so we could either do it so this is like here somewhere. Also, like, the clip hole doesn't have to be at the base either. But what I'm kind of thinking of is if we did it so that the connector... Let's move it a bit further over there. If that lines up with that, this could be our flat side. The difference is we'd have to dial down this detail a little bit and just make it a bit flatter. But that should give us a better result in general anyway. And then the other option to do is we could possibly make the back of it its own separate piece, so that the arm is coming up here and then this clips on. What we would have to do to address that is to make a little like greebly on the sides so that we've got enough room for like supporting clips. So maybe the next step is to check out the size of the supporting clips. So let's grab this one. Oh, it's rotated though. No, on an odd angle. So let's grab it from somewhere else. Let's see. So let's just grab this one. It's I'm really appreciative that this time John and I worked together on this. I did a rough mock-up and then I handed it over to John and said, make this printable and I'll detail it, and he handed it back, and I feel like that's a pretty good way of doing things. Taking advantage of both of our sort of specialties. So the clip isn't very large. Obviously it's still not large enough to fit into that wall. But I think aesthetically it's going to look cooler if the arm is kind of offset, sure, but not like, it'll look weird if it's straight over there, right? And we could do some funny business with like the connector being separate and whatnot, but I think, you know, I think this is a reasonable approach. You make it manifold or it gets the hose again. I mean, there's still some cleanup to do, and I did change some stuff around, but that's to be expected. Still, it's like a lot of my mental capacity goes into seeing how things fit, but I kind of feel like if someone else does that, I can sort of view it fresh. So yeah, I think the dividing it up idea is the best one, to be honest. So double checking where our missiles end. Shouldn't matter too much, except what we might want to do for the front and back parts is just to make sure that when they line up, and I'll forewarn you guys, if we end up with a crash now, I'm just going to end the stream, because I think the computer needs a restart in that case. But yeah, if I sort of make sure I get all of this back here, and then we cut this into two separate parts, which might be easier said than done, we'll see. But I think if we put the clips like here, it'll look good. So I know that we're only supposed to have 10 minutes left too, so it's kind of like, how long do we keep going with the stream? But I have extra time to work today, and I kind of feel like solving this is a good thing to have done today, even if release will probably be next week. I really need a couple of days to rest at this point. Oh, why is that a separate shape? Well, that's fun. So I think it'll be easy to cut here, but we need to also cut these rings. Just selecting around there. So when I say cut, what I really mean is I'm just separating the edges, so that when I now double click here, it should only pick the front part, which was our intention, right? So these will be our two different sections. I can now separate these, and I might move it back just a tad. At first I was kind of like thinking, oh, can we have like a nook like that this could fit into the walls or something? But it just like, it changes the aesthetic, and I kind of like the teardrop shape that it has. That's a solid workflow with John skills. Yeah, I think so. I think it'll work well, especially for tribes, and especially while Albin is working on the film too. Because I'll be doing I'll be doing the rest of the year in any case for the tribes. Now let's see. Hopefully this is at a percentage. So all my goal is here is to sort of like get this to align correctly. And then if I align this to there, if we push that back to there, I think that'll be enough of a gap. So then the next trick I think will be to sort of extrude around. And I'm not really extruding here because I want it to be accurate. I just want it to be logical. So this is a nice trick you can do where you just drag the vertexes back to where they were, realign the point, And then you might consider using like a grid or something to get it out to where you want it to be. That is a little bit thin, but I think we could actually do a little angle there. So let's this time I'll align it with this one and change my snapping to vertex so that I'm actually snapping to this lower one. And then what I'll do is, this is another trick, I'll do an extrusion of just that edge. What I'll do is scale it down first, and then I'm going to realign things with that, then move it to there, then move it to there, and that gives us a nice little edge on the side. It might actually be easy to grab the whole thing and then, oh, we need to do some merging here. Merge vertexes, merge vertexes. Hopefully, yep, that fixed it. So let's remove these edges, and we're just going to extrude back a bit. And I think just enough to sort of cover up most of this. Maybe we want to be on the grid again. Niche or Nook? I don't know, man. I've just... Nook, probably. I don't know, I'm not a master of the English language anymore. I've got to remember, at this point I've actually lived longer in Sweden than I have in an English-speaking country. Which is, you know, a bit of a mind-blowing thing for me, but such is life. So, yeah, that's... I mean, it's obviously for a clip, but we can kind of disguise it so it looks more like say this sort of greebly detail there. And in fact, we could probably steal these, just center them, and we could, oh, they're doubles. Let's just steal one side then. And we could potentially reuse this. And the beauty is, like, okay, we'll have an extension of this, but you won't have to have the extended version for this to work. It should work on both versions, right? This will just be a bit further set back, and the idea is that this section is extended a bit further. You can see it doesn't start actually moving very much until here. And that was because I always had it in the back of my head that we might want to extend this thing. That Nook is quite niche. Alright, right, let's switch this one over. Actually, the next thing I want to do is grab this edge, and we're just going to move it on our grid a bit, but first we want to pick these edges. And the reason I'm doing this is because I want to create some space for this sort of like greebly, but keep these sort of like leading edges. I don't know if that's the right word for it, but something like, if we move this to here, actually, is that too far? Oh, it looks alright. And if we now deselect those areas, we should be able to extrude. And that should have left us a little bit of room to grow. So if we move it there, that kind of makes sense, but it will make more sense when we take this part, freeze the transformations, and then duplicate it. So I'm not too worried about it looking the same. Let's see, direction-wise, we want it in the Z, so let's -1. I don't know why. Oh, this must be in a group that's oriented differently. Let's try the Y. That worked. I don't know why. Let's try the Y. And I'm thinking that this thing could maybe go like in here somewhere. Flip it around. Let's see, that's a 180. Then we're at like 45 or something. So you can kind of see that we might be able to integrate this form a little bit. So I don't know yet exactly how it's going to look, just that, because right now I'm definitely just going by what feels good. But you know, it's a pretty good way to live, to be honest. Pretty easy. Let's see. Dalton says, I live in an English-speaking country and I still not mastered the language. Programming languages, I'm a native speaker, but spoken/written English, I'm useless. Yeah, well, I feel like I remember many years ago, my brother was visiting one of our friends who had moved to Iceland. His father was Icelandic, so he was actually able to do that. And we just took a road trip in Iceland, and I just recall it was a great trip, interesting adventure, a little stressful, but very beautiful. And Iceland is definitely a place that I'd like to revisit in the future at some point. But my brother was using words, and I'm just like, I don't know this word. I need like a dictionary to look up what that is. And it kind of just dawned on me that, you know, he kept learning words, and my English was either at the level it was at, or, you know, deteriorating. Jeez. This is my point exactly. And it was never great to begin with, because, I mean, I am Australian. Not really known for being masters of language, right? So if we shorten these a little bit, one alternative here too is to just use the 3 in the middle. And maybe even, let's see, that's half and half, right? So I'm wondering if maybe we can do something with these up here later, but now I'm kind of inclined to ditch that. And let's just see, there should be room for the same thing on the other side, and I think it'll just look a little bit more deliberate. It is a little bit more noisy, maybe a little bit more almost Japanese, I guess, in design. So it's a little bit busier, but interesting at the same time. So let's go there, and we can start sort of pulling this in a little bit. So I think I'll move down to here, and then I know that's too steep of an angle for what I'm looking for. So what I can actually do is move my pivot point here and then just pull that up again. So a lot of what I do is actually manipulating pivot points and scales, and it's sort of like a cheat / workaround. Jeez, there we go again. And now I think we could just do an extrusion. If I set the pivot point here and pull it back, whoops, I still need to move the pivot point to here. We're on the grid there, so we need to be there. But here I should be able to scale it down, and it'll just create like the kind of gap we're looking for, right? And that way we can sort of, we might go down a little bit as well. So, but getting it to go that way, it usually can feel a little bit more uniform than doing it other ways. Maybe just a tiny bit more there. And what I'll do is just grab these 4, refocus this, and I'm just going to pull it in a little bit, and hopefully there's something on the grid that's reasonable, like here. So it now looks a little bit more greebly than it did. It kind of looks like these have some kind of purpose. If I then take these and probably just set it in the middle here, but then change my pivots again so that I can match it out here. Whoops. We're on the grid. We don't want to be on the grid. And we want to snap in the right direction. Why is that not snapping to where I want it? Meant to go there. But then we can sort of like, I guess, move these a bit closer together. So another objective we could have done here is actually trying to orient these to... It would have been easier if I just reoriented the whole thing so it was flat again, and that way we'd be in the right sort of direction from the beginning. That would probably have been a more optimal way to go. Probably the reason I didn't do it that way is mostly because I didn't really know what I wanted to do yet in regards to these. It's a work in progress. It's not something you know all the time, hey, this is what I want to do. So here we want to go there. We want to orient to that and pull it back up again. Again, we've got the grid on. Let's see. You had to Google Aussie slang to find bogan. I mean, it's not slang. People are bogans. It's like a redneck or a trailer park trash, that sort of thing. Grab some tinny from the bottle and we won't call you a bogan. Bogan is a state of mind. Unless you're from Dapto. But yeah. So yeah, we've just got this sort of like... Let's turn off our lines, and once we get some missiles in there... I don't love that. I think it needs a little bit more rounding off. So let's just pull these back a little bit. Maybe not that much. That'll look slightly better. And I think maybe to make it feel even more unique, the trick will be to widen these so it doesn't look like I've just ripped them off over there. So if I grab this, orient it to there, and then pull it down to there, we've got this thicker version, right? And there, and pull it up to there. That did not go as planned. So yeah, and then maybe we could even pull it down a bit further so that they're not as on the edge. So like there. All right, so we've got some detailing in place. We know where our clip holes are going to be. I still haven't fully detailed this yet, but we know the split's going to be there. There'll be 2 clips to hold it together. We might even have some fancy overlapping, depending. Let's see. Is a bogan a goblin? A trash goblin, maybe? I see you're better at communicating in Aussie than I am. You can spend so long in planning that you don't get things done. Your style of CAD flows like Chaz. Yeah, I forget sometimes that CAD just stands for computer aided design, so it is CAD in a sense, but traditionally I would think of CAD as like more like NURBS curves and, you know, accurate things. Whereas it can do those things, but it's not built for purpose. Really, it's not the right tool for the job when you're creating something that's a physical model. It's just I've sort of adapted it. So I don't know if I'll keep these or not. It might look better actually if I take out these little extrusions or move them up to the edge so it flows along. Not sure yet, so we'll have to see. I was considering making these a little bit more aerodynamic, but I don't think so. I think the boxy kind still... It doesn't make sense, but, you know, there's no RCS visible. There's a lot of other things that don't make sense. And then there's, like, competing lines for which direction the weapons are going. So I'm kind of thinking, like, your anti-personnel, anti-vehicle weapons, they're, like, angled down 7.5 degrees, which kind of follows this line. Whereas these don't need to be angled down, partially because it'll throw the missiles out, which are printed separately. Oh, computer aided drafted is a hill level die. Let's go with that. I am definitely not invested in that enough. Converting Ben to Blender is still possible. I mean, it's possible. When it looks like Maya. When it just uses Maya controls and performs exactly the same. Yeah, sure. So right now I'm just gonna duplicate these objects. Wait, that's not letting me select that. Oh, this is a bug in Maya that has come in like more recent editions and I hate it. Like it's just not letting me pick. There we go. Usually if you can select it some other way, like in the outliner, you can do something with it. So I'm just gonna duplicate these. And then we need to move the pivot points. So again, we're not at the stage where we're making things printable. Let's see, did that move all three or just one or two? Yeah, just one or two. Remove that. Oh, I know why. The problem was actually that we got doubles. No, no we don't. Freeze transformations, does that work? No, no it doesn't, which means it's hidden in a group. So the best solution we have here is either to put in a new one or pull them all out of the group. So I think these are the things here. Freeze transformations again. There we go. So that worked. 180. And then in theory, oh no, we don't have the same details on the underside. So I could change the orientation, but I think honestly the easier thing to do is just take a point that I know is aligned correctly and then just pull it down to there. So let's see how this looks. And we could even, I think, I'm going to save this now because this could risk things. Let's see. The price point of Blender is perfect. Yes, it is. No, I just want the interface to work like Maya. Unfortunately, the collision of similar acronyms is endemic. Sadly, it can be both. Let's see. Started learning AutoCAD with version 10 in high school. Yeah. I mean, I started with 3D in 1997, but it was pretty, like I was self-taught on pirated software, so... yeah, I kind of like the look of this. I think that looks mean. If anything, I might consider taking the back here, which I see is suffering from the same bug at the moment. Come on. So, yeah, I really don't know why that happens, but it's annoying. But yeah, maybe I will make these hatches a little bit thicker and bigger so they're more just defined. Especially now that we're printing this on its back. So, for example, I'm not sure if I'm going to do this for all of them because it is a bit tedious. But if I took these, expand my selection, and then just came out by, say, like, point... Whoa, that did not work as I was expecting it to at all. The same distance, maybe. So, if we... Or even this, let's try this. So yeah, that's a lot more... It's a lot thicker, but it's going to look more interesting, I think. Maybe that's a tad too much. Maybe if we pull it back and then... That looks like it's 0.2 there, so... If I move that to there... And then we match that to there... You can see that's just going to pop that much more than the rest of them. And yeah, there might be a few adjustments, but now especially that we know that that's going to print on the top, we can do slightly fancier things with it. Newbies stick together, yeah. Oh, I guess I'm not a newbie. I don't know why I was thinking, yeah, I'm a newbie. And even designing for 3D printing, like, since 2017. That's a decent chunk of time at this point. Yeah, printing in 2012 is old school. Alright, so you know what? I think we've got the basic shape here. The last thing I might want to do is I'm just going to group these missiles and we'll get them into their loaders so we can see the full effect. So let's do... Might even combine them. Like, that's pretty... pretty acceptable, I think. Let's move that down there, and then we should be able to match this to... I don't know if these will be the final missiles that we use, but... Come on. Oh yeah, we moved them back a little bit too, so how do they look? Let's see here. Is that about right? They sticking out a little bit over here? I'd say so. I think we're pretty close. So now the last thing to do is to sort of like group this all together so that hopefully we can mirror it to the other side of the craft. Let's delete the history, group it, and then if we duplicate and go -1 here, we get the other one on the other side. So we can see the final effect a little bit, especially if we isolate. Let's see, just pick these, move that from the selection, and let's isolate that. So we've got a better idea about how this thing looks. I think it looks mean, compact. I think especially if we get form-fitting arms here, and yeah, I think we're in a good spot. What do you guys reckon? I reckon it's looking pretty sweet. I might redo the cockpit canopy as well so that the glass can fit separately. The way I would do that is by creating a lip around the edge so you can print it flat. This thing isn't perfectly flat as it is though, so I don't know. It's one of those things I would make Albin do normally. Anyway, let's leave things there for now. And any of you who are on the Friends of Benjamin and Tribe level, you can look forward to seeing these in your inbox in the next week, I'd say. I won't leave it too long before doing something about the December release, but I want to get some community feedback first regarding what we should actually make. But for now, it's time to, take the weekend. I think we'll probably fund this weekend, so yay for that. Thank you so much if you backed this already. If you haven't checked out the campaign already, there's a link below. Like, subscribe, and I will see you guys next week. Bye for now, guys. Bye.